Section 1. The Paradox Hook Meet Daniel. Daniel is 34 years old. He reads every personal finance book that gets published. He has a Robinhood account, a Fidelity account, and a spreadsheet he updates every Sunday night tracking his net worth to the decimal point. He listens to wealth-building podcasts during his commute. He has a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, and a vision board on his wall. Daniel earns $140,000 a year. And Daniel has $11,000 in liquid savings, because Daniel is also building. He's building the portfolio, building the lifestyle that signals he's on his way, building toward the life he deserves after working this hard. The BMW lease made sense. He needed to look credible for clients. The downtown apartment made sense. Proximity to the office, networking, the energy of the city. The $300 dinners made sense. You have to invest in relationships. Daniel is aggressively building wealth, and he is one unexpected expense away from financial paralysis. Now, meet Priya. Priya is 36. She has never once updated a net worth spreadsheet. She doesn't have a vision board. She drives a 2014 Honda CR-V with 90,000 miles on it, lives in a 2-bedroom apartment in a mid-cost city, and her most expensive regular purchase. Concept 2. The ecosystem of expenses. One of the most underestimated financial traps is what I call the expense ecosystem, the invisible cluster of secondary costs that attach themselves to every major purchase. Consider a boat. A modest recreational boat might cost $18,000. That feels manageable for a $140,000 earner. But the boat doesn't arrive alone. It brings marina storage, $2,400 per year. Insurance, $900. Annual maintenance, $1,200 minimum. Fuel, supplies, the social pressure of hosting people on it, another $1,500. Over 5 years, before any major repair, that $18,000 boat has cost you $33,000. And that's before you calculate the investment return you didn't receive on that capital. This pattern applies everywhere. The bigger house brings higher utilities, more furniture to fill it, higher property taxes, and the psychological pressure to maintain it at a certain standard. The luxury wardrobe brings the restaurant it demands, the social events it implies, the lifestyle it quietly requires you to maintain around it. Every major purchase is not a purchase. It is the founding of an ecosystem. And ecosystems have ongoing operating costs. The question to ask before any significant acquisition is not, "Can I afford this?" It is, "Can I afford everything this will bring with it for the next 10 years? Concept 3. The hedonic treadmill is mathematically merciless. Behavioral economists have documented the hedonic treadmill for decades, the psychological phenomenon where humans rapidly adapt to new possessions and return to their baseline level of satisfaction, then require the next upgrade to feel the same initial pleasure. But the treadmill is not just a psychological problem. It is a compounding financial problem, because each upgrade raises the floor. The person who spent their 20s in a modest apartment adapts to a $1,500 apartment and builds optionality. The person who upgraded every 2 years adapts to a $3,800 apartment and cannot leave without feeling like they've failed. Priya never got on the treadmill. Her baseline satisfaction remained attached to things that don't cost money to maintain: autonomy, time, the ability to choose her days. Daniel's satisfaction became structurally dependent on maintaining his lifestyle because he'd adapted to it. The treadmill doesn't stop running just because you want to get off. The most powerful financial decision you can make in your 20s and 30s is to be aggressively boring about lifestyle. Not forever, not ascetically, but long enough to build a foundation of optionality that no single event can shatter. Concept 4. Liquid assets are asymmetric weapons. This is the insight that transformed Priya's financial life, and the one most wealth-building advice completely ignores. Liquid assets, cash, money market, accessible investments are not just savings. They are asymmetric opportunity weapons. They allow you to do things that indebted, illiquid people cannot. When Priya's company offered early retirement packages last spring, she could genuinely evaluate it. Daniel could not even consider it. When a real estate opportunity appeared in Priya's city during the 2020 downturn, she had capital ready to deploy. Daniel had equity locked in a BMW. The person with liquidity can be opportunistic. They can wait. They can say no to bad offers because they don't need to say yes. They can hire the better lawyer, negotiate from strength, absorb the unexpected. Illiquidity is not just financial vulnerability. It is the systematic removal of your ability to act in your own interest when the moment demands it. Section 4. The reality check and actionable steps, 8 to 9:30. Now, why is this so hard to actually do? Because we are wired for visibility. A high savings rate is invisible. A BMW is not. Financial security creates no social signal. A penthouse does. We are performing financial success for an audience, colleagues, family, people we barely know, and the performance has a very real, very expensive price tag. The first step is recognizing that you have been optimizing for the optics of wealth rather than its substance. That realization is uncomfortable. It means past decisions were not just suboptimal, they were, in some sense, self-betrayals. But here are 3 things you can do this week. First, calculate your actual monthly fixed cost floor. Add up every non-negotiable monthly obligation. This number is the cost of your life's inertia. Know it exactly. Second, identify your single highest cost lifestyle expense, the one that contributes the most to your floor without contributing to your actual happiness. And model what your optionality would look like in 3 years without it. Third, set a liquid asset target. Not an investment target, a liquid target. Decide the number that would make you feel genuinely free. 3 months of expenses, 6 months, a year. Then treat building toward that number as your primary financial objective, above portfolio growth, above lifestyle upgrades, above everything. Because that number is not just savings, that number is the perimeter of your freedom. Section 5. The closing thought, 9:30 to 10. Daniel and Priya are still out there. Daniel is still updating his spreadsheet on Sunday nights, watching the number grow slowly while the obligations keep pace with it. He is building. He is always building. Priya is somewhere she chose to be. The paradox at the center of this video is simple, and it is real. The moment you stop trying to build wealth and start trying to protect your freedom, you will almost certainly build more wealth. Not because frugality is a virtue, not because minimalism is a lifestyle, but because every dollar not converted into a fixed obligation is a dollar that remains yours, available, deployable, and powerful. The question is never really about money. It is about who owns your future.